Let's have ourselves a pretzel chop. Hello, everybody. How's it going? Hey, hey, hey. I'm just posting this out really quick. So, Mr. Krieger. There we go. That's a little better. In fact, let's put this. There we go. We're right out of the way. That's better. Much better. So, how's everybody Saturday or Sunday, depending on where you are? So far, mine's been eventful. I have a new possible collaboration coming up. Something little less related to RetroPie stuff and more related to resin printing. But the person who is possibly going to make these is also into retro gaming, and he actually makes arcade cabinets. The only downside is people just don't want to pay the money for them because, well, he uses quality products, and unfortunately, they cost a lot of money to build a cabinet, and it's like $120 for a cabinet. So that's the downfall. Fine until my nice surprise. How was your day today? Yeah, it was good, as I just said. Your nice surprise. I'm guessing your what we were chatting with earlier. Anyway, so if it's a little loud in the background here, my apologies. I do have a printer running right behind me, so my apologies for that if it's a little loud for y'all. But I need to get some of these prints done, and unfortunately, that's the only area I can have that as of right now. I mean, I guess I can move it over there, but since the print's already started, can't really move it unless it's on a battery backup, which it definitely is not, because my battery backup that I bought a power supply battery backup. So I have a big UPS, yeah, UPS APC 1170V UPS, and that thing's pretty powerful. And I got most of my stuff hooked up to that, but I have like a pod stand that has inputs on all directions. It's made for a desk basically, and it's just a round power supply basically, and it works, but I need something that's more flat and more that takes up less room, because right now it's taking up a good amount of room, and I can't mount it anywhere unless I zip tie it or rig it, and I just don't want to be doing that. So this new one that I bought was a brick, like 6x6, and basically it's a rectangle power supply that has battery backup in it as well. It's nothing spectacular, but it'll do the so. So at least I can get that up and running. Let's get this up out of the way. Because these printers do need to be on battery backup just in case I lose power. I don't want to be losing that type of money with resin printing. Let me move you guys up a little bit here. There we go. That's a little better. Now not having my head cut off. So yeah, it's been joyous. So right now what I'm doing, you guys can't see it because it's off the screen. I have an image in here already that's set up, and it sort of works, but it doesn't work the way that I want it to. So what I'm doing is I'm building a new image from scratch. And unfortunately, I tried loading my old image on there. And this was literally the only image that I've really ever made besides, you know, a stock one that actually has stuff on it, like special features, a start screen, and all kinds of different add-ons. But it's so old that it runs Jesse, I think it is. So it's RetroPie 3.9. So 3.9 something. I forget what it is, but it's so old that it can't even update to the newest version. And when it does, like when I do an update on it, it'll update to 4.4, 1.4, but it basically tells me, hey, you've reached your max limit on this type of image, because the new ones are Debian Stretch and Buster, and basically it tells me straight up you have to compile a whole new image from scratch. And I'm like, that's awesome. That basically means that my image is no longer usable. So I literally have to start it from scratch, which I guess is fine. It's always good to start new. But yeah, that's how long I haven't used that that image. Is the last time, like, I kept that thing updated all the time. So yes, resin is definitely not cheap, especially in Canada. You are absolutely correct, and I'm half tempted to see if I can do anything about that, because that would be definitely a needed part, I guess you could call it, because it does create parts, so it is technically a part. That is a needed part in Canada, especially the color gray seems to be a hard resin to come by. And then basically anything that is not colored, like colored green, red, yellow, blue, purple, teal, whatever. All those colors, they're like semi-normal prices. They're still a little bit higher than the US, so that's to be expected because of the import taxes and everything, I would guess. But the gray and the black are massively expensive. Like, it's a 3-to-1. So for one bottle of resin for me costs 3 times or 2 times more than Canada. I'm sorry, I may have said that wrong. So my bottle costs $20, and a bottle in Canada of the same color gray, same type, same everything, just crossing the border, triples its price. If not, sometimes doubles it, but for the most part, it's been tripled that I've seen. So that's not very good. But that might be several different things, because it is a very hazardous material. And a lot of countries don't like that stuff. Whereas here in America, they just don't care. Let them let you guys kill yourself as long as we're making money. We don't really care. Um, and So I've been thinking about possibly purchasing some and shipping them over to see if I can get that over to everybody. But needed commodity, yes. So without further ado, I'm going to stare this way, and I'll try and keep an eye on you guys. But for the most part, you're going to see me like this. Because it's kind of weird to angle the camera. And to top it all off, I have all my furniture down here because we're having company for Thanksgiving. And we move all our furniture down here to keep it out of the way. So I have everything in my front room, couches, tables, they're all down here and just kind of sloshed together, and it's a disaster. Plus there's Christmas gifts everywhere and all kinds of stuff. So it's just, my basement is usually a disaster. It's even more of a disaster now. So all right, let's go ahead and try and get this up and running. There we go. All right, let's go and connect to the internet. Let's get our Wi-Fi going. It's Wi-Fi, so we can transfer RAMs. Actually, you know what? I'm going to hardwire that because we're not going to deal with slow transfer speeds. We're going to plug it directly into the router. Call it a day. Never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it. But we do need to enable SSH, so we'll go ahead and SSH. Don't have to connect to the internet because we already know what the internet is. All right, let's go to Raspberry Fig. Oh, now I'm getting hiccups. We are going to go to interface options. Go to SSH and enable that. SSH is enabled. So we're going to go ahead and finish that. We're going to go over to show IP. So we can get our IP address, because I'm going to be switching everything over from one computer to another. And we have 37. Okay. So we have 5 people in here. I know at least 3 of them, maybe 4. All right, now that that is all set up, we'll switch over to my PC and we'll load everything up beforehand. And then what we're going to do is so I'm basically pre-configuring the Pi 3 so I can run Dreamcast and I can run Nintendo 64. I have to overclock it as well. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically put out a stock image with all the retro flag configurations. So the configuration for the screen to work, button mapped already, and well, maybe not button map. Maybe we'll remove that because some people do some different stuff with that. So we'll probably remove that. So it'll be the safe shutdown and the display, because obviously without the display, your image is not going to work. So I'm not here. So that's what we'll do with that and get that up and running. So let's see what's going on here. I have too many mini keyboards. I need like an all-in-one keyboard that I can connect multiple devices. Let's see. We're going to go to WinSCP. And we're going to go ahead and enter in our IP address. Dun, 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 dun. We need a neural interface. I'll be honest, I don't know what that is. That's gibberish. Okay, we're going to not update this. We're going to skip. Because I ain't got time to update. Oh, hey, what's up, Dave? I'm actually working on a RetroPie image for the CM3 kit, which is right here. That's attached to this GPI case. Basically, it's a miniature Game Boy. If you don't know what it is, that's more or less the reason why I got into resin printing, because I was making stuff for that. Much like, rear button triggers. This one's in fancy Elegoo clear green, I think. Maybe it's Elegoo, actually, not any cubic. But that's why I got into it, so I can make like custom D-pads for it, custom buttons, and then we can go from there. So that would be totally awesome to do that. And that's just a small point that we can get across. And I'm starting to get more and more people into resin printing that actually know how to design things. So maybe later on down the road, we can, maybe collaborate on stuff and see if we can come out with new and exciting products for retro gaming handhelds or systems or arcades or whatever it may be. And again, that's just the tip of the iceberg, because there's really no limitations with resin printing, because you have such a nice finish on them that they almost look like they are injection molded at times. So it's really nice to have that. So, and you'll get into it once you get your longer there, and that was an amazing price on that, and I'm this close to pulling the trigger on that. But I got another resin printer coming in, so I don't really need one right now. And I have a big boy right here, right below this camera. I have a real big printer. It's not as big as the Phenom or a Transform, but it's pretty close. And it's definitely a unique printer for sure. Not a lot of people even know that this printer exists. And really, it was the first one to have a big resin printer available for public buying. And I'd known about it for a couple months now when I got their first unit, which is right here. And they've always had they've had three versions. So they have the small one, which I have here. They have a medium-sized one, and then they have the big boy, which is a 10-inch screen on that thing. So that's double the size of most of your resin printers. And basically, I'm going to fix that up, get it up and running, and we'll see about printing some crazy stuff with that, because I mean, I can literally print an entire Game Boy right on that thing. Like that would be the ultimate thing to do. So, and that's my first print to do. is a Game Boy, 100% on that. If not something similar, I have a handful of projects that I'd like to print off of that and see how well that they would run. Not run, but print. Um, and yeah, they're going to be really really nice prints. So yeah, I love resin printing. Yep. Yeah. So Dave will be getting into resin printing come Monday, right? If I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna grab some more pretzel sticks. I like these. I like them because they remind me of like cigars. So, um, now the good thing that I forgot to mention, Dave, is it does come with a bottle of resin, that printer. So that's why that is a damn good buy. Even though it's a 250 milliliter bottle, that'll get you a good, maybe 4, 5 prints maybe off of it, maybe more, depending on how small or how big your prints are. Obviously, the bigger you're going to use more resin, and the more solid your print is, the more resin you're going to use, and so on and so forth. But like, if you're printing something of this size, you can probably get like 6 prints off of there, and solid prints. Like, this is a solid piece of resin. It's not really going to crack. So, um, one major downfall I will say with the longer, actually two of them, I'll go ahead, and I'm pretty sure I stated this to you when you were asking me about purchasing it this morning or this afternoon. Um, the hood, you literally have to piece the hood together. So here, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So I don't have the longer 10, but I have the longer 30, which is the bigger brother of that. Now, this is the hood that I'm talking about. This is 5 pieces of glass, or not glass, plexiglass, that you literally have to piece together. I have welded this together with a soldering iron because I didn't want to deal with it. So it's pretty solid. It's not 100%, but it does its job that it needs to. I'll probably end up putting some hot glue on it and just going down in the corners here at some point. But yeah, this is the only drawback of that printer. And since you're getting the smaller version, it is a lot easier to put together. This one obviously is a little bit bigger. Um, but yeah, like, you got to put these 2 pieces together. Then you got to try and put the top in, slide that in, then put these 2 pieces together, snap them all together, and then put a rubber band over it. And I was like, I didn't want that janky setup. So I made it kind of look like crap in some ways. I mean, it looks okay, but it's not the greatest looking anymore. Um, and so I just ended up welding everything together with a hot soldering iron. And basically, this took me about, I want to say about an hour to get every little like nook and cranny to go together. And there's still some pieces that need a little bit of TLC on it. But again, you could also do hot glue on it and call it a day too. So that would make it easy. I saw you assemble that on video. Okay, good. So you know the travesty of probably 25 minutes of an hour video that I spent trying to put this together. What a disaster. And they even had helpers with 3D printed parts, and it was still a disaster. So I'm just forewarning you, you're going to want to throw this out the window when you get that printer. So that's the one downfall. The other sort of downfall, it does come with resin, but I've noticed there's an issue with Longer's resin. And I thought it was just an issue with mine, but my buddy from Renegade Labs here, he also had a bottle of resin from Longer as well. And basically, it turns your isopropyl alcohol wash to like a milky state, and it's not very good. Like, that's the only resin I have that really like has a cakey substance after you wash it. It's really really nasty. But I mean, the prints work. So I mean, if you can get past that, that's fine. But after you use that 250 milliliter bottle, there's tons of other resin. Elegoo is good. Any cubic is good. Monoprice I have yet to try. Hiea, Hieha. They usually have discounts, like half off on their resins all the time. I've only used their gray, and it's pretty good. G-Tex water soluble, which that's what this was printed with. That's pretty good. Although I'm not a very big fan on the water soluble stuff, and I'm not I'm not a hippie in any way, shape, or form, but I understand where those people who are kind of having an issue with that going about it. And I'll probably end up doing a video about it, my concerns and possible workarounds. But in all honesty, it's probably going to be a video about why you really shouldn't buy that type of resin. As much as it is more convenient, it's not environmentally friendly in any way, shape, or form. And I'm just more or less worried about the misuse of it. So that's my only concern. I used to rebuild and service large format Epson printers. Needs 6 arms to do almost anything. Oh boy, that sounds like fun. And then tomorrow I got a new UV curing light. I have a big one, which works very, very well. I like it. But it seems like everybody's going for the little miniature one that I see being passed around, which is fine. It works perfectly fine. No issues with it whatsoever. But I'll be getting my light tomorrow, and I'll be doing a video on a possible wooden UV cure chamber that me and a buddy of mine are going to possibly come out with. It all depends on the gauge of what's needed, what's wanted, what price range they're willing to pay for it, and how we can get it to them. Because as of right now, it's kind of expensive to do everything, but we'll have to see. We have to work out some numbers and things like that, and try and get it at the cheapest possible form to everyone, but also maintain a quality product. Even though if we go on a cheaper route, the quality might be a little bit lacking, but it'll still be a useful piece of uh, tools, I guess. I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, it'll be useful regardless. It just might not look the prettiest, but if you can see that, that's fine. I know some people are very, very adamant about the way things look. I'll be honest, it's not bad for what we did, and this was literally just a trial run. So I'm actually very excited to show it off and to make sure that we have enough interest in it that we can ship this basically worldwide, or even send out files to people that want to, you know, put and CNC route it and what have you. So it'll be really good to have that ability for everybody. All right. So let me stare at the screen for a little bit here. So we're going to go ahead and put in some. Oh, you know what? We got to switch back to the Raspberry Pi because we have to install Dreamcast. That is muy importante. So we're going to go up to RetroPie setup. And whenever it decides to go through all the menu setups. Okay, copying, blah, blah, blah. All right, we're good. Okay. All right, so we're going to go to Manage Package, Optional Packages, and we're going to basically go down and look for Rycast. And we're going to go ahead and install from binary. Okay, so nobody's really chatting. So yeah, so got quite a few videos coming up. First one on my list is an actual review of the Spark Maker, which, like I said, is right behind this camera that you guys are watching me on. And my apologies if it's a little loud, because the Spark Maker is a tad bit loud when it comes to resin printing. But I mean, what do you expect for literally a budget printer? And it's a really cool printer. I like it a lot. It's a very basic printer, and it's very compact, so you can literally put it anywhere. I mean, it's not even I want to say it's not even a foot around, maybe just a foot. So it's really nice, and like I said, it's very basic. It don't even have a touchscreen. You slice your file, put one file on there at a time. Go ahead and put the SD card, hit the button, and it'll start printing on its own. As long as you got resin in there, I have yet to have a failure. It's set for when I ran out of resin. That's it. So, and this is me using G-Tech's water-soluble resin that came with the G-Tech DP200, which we will also be doing a review on. So, yeah. So if you hear like loud, like whir, whir, that's basically the printer going up and down, because the thing about this is it's not a metal construction, it's all plastic for the most part, so you're hearing the vibrations transfer through the entire printer. And while you can definitely tell that it transfers on a print, especially like this print right here, and the next print I have ready to set up, I need to cure it. But yeah, you can definitely see that there's like lines in it, and that's one of the things. First off, you can't enable I'm probably going to say this wrong, anti-alicing or anti-lacing. I think it's anti-alicing. And that basically like smooths out your prints. It does something to the G code where it smooths it. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't really even looked up the word to see what it exactly refers to in terms of 3D printing. So I'll have to do that. But Sheet2Box already has a slicer profile set up for the Spark Maker, and it's set ready to go. And I've been printing with the Elegoo. I'm sorry, the G-Tech water soluble resin, clear yellow, I think, and it's been printing pretty good so far. My first one, I accidentally put it in IPA, so I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's some like white lines on it. That's because I put it in 99% IPA and it didn't like it very much, so rightfully so. My fault. I didn't think twice about it. I thought, hey, I could just throw this in here and it'll be fine. No, I was wrong. So this next print I just took off the bed. I actually I washed it in water, a water vat that I have ready to go, and it's already kind of looking okay. And the one that's printing right now is what I have printed on an FDM printer, normal settings that I would use on an FDM printer. So we can do some comparison shots of the difference between a $250 Ender 3 or G-Tech 810. Whatever they're going for now, I think they're a little over 200 now, maybe 220 at the max. So we'll do a comparison between that type of budget printer that's very good to this budget resin printer, and basically compare the goods and bads about them, and we'll see how they all go. I think I printed this with supports, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure on that now, but there's definitely some artifacts in this that were caused by the slicer and I'll basically show those all off too. So, but we're going to do a side-by-side comparison between normal FDM printing without any major upgrades. Like right out of the box, I'm going to do FDM printing. I want to do, a miniature, and I have no idea what I'm doing. Basically, that's what these settings are. You're setting it and letting it print. That's what that's for. Okay. Sorry, I'm just checking on my phone here. Yeah. Okay. Let's. Wrong one. See, I'm already doing things wrong. Okay. Damn. It's about time. Yeah, wow. I got a lot of videos to do. Jesus. Jeebus. All right. A heat sign. Really? Very interesting. Never did I think I would see that. All right. So let's go ahead and we will back out of this. And we'll go onto the TV and put our PC back on. All right, let's see what we got here. We're going to exit out of here and we're going to go back in. Log in. Yeah, that's great. We're just going to update it. All right, there's our bias settings. "38 minutes. That's not too bad. Okay. So I am part of the GPI case user group on Facebook. So you could go ahead and request to join there. And either myself or Adam Forrester, who's pretty big into knowing what he's doing in terms of the GPI case software side, you can go ahead and look at that. Now, as for the CM3 kit, if you don't already have a GPI case, I would suggest ordering one of those, or at least ordering a CM3 kit, because we're going to be ending the pre-orders in a couple days here. So we can get them shipped out and get them out to customers by Christmas. So I'm hoping to do that in the next week or so. And these usually come with a Pi Zero installed on them. So they usually, you put them in the cartridge here, and they just go back in the cartridge just like you would a old school game. So it's like a miniature Game Boy, basically. So this is CM3 kit. Obviously, it's much more powerful because it's a Raspberry Pi 3. So instead of it being a single core, it is a quad core, I believe. Even though it sounds very, very powerful, it's has its limitations, but it's a very, very nice board in any way. So that's usually what you do is you'll get a Pi Zero, so you could at least get a bundle like that, and that way you can have a working unit right away. Otherwise, you'll have to purchase the CM3 kit, which, like I said, we're expecting to have them in the hands to customers by December, and I'll have an image started for this and basically a breakdown of how you install it. Unfortunately, it'll probably just be a breakdown for Windows because that's all I use, really. Apple users can use another type of program, and it's basically the same type of steps, so it's not that bad. So I will be posting a bundle deal for the GPI this weekend. So there you go. Check out TL Computers. I've worked with him on some projects, and he apparently still has some cases. So definitely hit him up because you can probably get them cheaper from him if need be. Or if anything, you'll probably get them for the same price, and you're just supporting someone personal instead of supporting Amazon. It's up to you. I mean, I'm not really gonna, say, hey, don't support Amazon because I'm an Amazoner too. So, which is funny because I own my own small business, and basically anything that I want to do is trumped by Amazon automatically. So that's unfortunate, but that's the way the world works nowadays. In either case, let's get going here. All right. So we're going to go ahead and grab that and grab that. And we're going to move them over into DC. Better have a coupon ready. Yep. Basically, any small business, typical, hey, where's my order? Because they're so used to Amazon, like ship next day. And unfortunately, I would say that's not how the real world works, but Amazon is a good portion of the real world. And definitely huge in the USA. So that's unfortunate that you can't really say that otherwise. All right. Sounds good. Oh, God, I broke it. All right, let's see what this is. Let's go to files. Let's go to system. Let's go to BIOS. And let's go to net. Yeah, I have no idea what that stuff is, but sure. In Indy, surrounded by 7 or 8 warehouses, but I did find TL Computers 505 and logo. Yes, that is the right place. Absolutely. All right, let's go to Dreamcast. Very nice, sir. Let's see here. Dreamcast. We are going to Power Stone. And, okay. We're going to go ahead and add that in. What in the world is that? I have no idea. Go ahead and move Power Stone over. Rear button kits. Oh, okay. When those are done, can you do me a favor? Underneath the bottom of those, there's a barcode, and it'll say like MY08 or MY09. Let me know what models those are. That's what those are, the model numbers. It'll be the last set of numbers. All right, so let's go. We'll put on that, and we'll put on Jet Grind Radio because I love that game. Cool. By the way, Dave, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, like the video. Anything helps. And yes, stay tuned because we will be doing a lot of videos this upcoming week. I got a lot of stuff planned. I got a lot going on this entire week. Like Thanksgiving is coming up quick, and I'm going to be buying a new computer. Actually, let me retract that statement about videos. So we're going to do a couple more like what I'm going to call cheapy videos, which is basically me shooting video right here from my phone. And we're actually going to invest in a new PC because the PC that I use right here is a really, really cheap, like mini PC. It has major limitations on it. You definitely cannot do video on it. I can chat, like some of the people that are chatting in here, Renegade Labs, TL Computers, we chat on Discord pretty much on a nightly basis, and I can use the computer for that, but that's about it. And even then, it kind of throws me off sometimes. And I have Linux ran on that, so I'll probably keep that dedicated to Linux because it's kind of cool to have a Linux system. Even though I have this laptop up here, which I'm probably going to end up getting rid of because I don't really need it. I have a laptop right here that's a pretty nice one. It's got an i5 processor in it, which one of my RetroPie buddies actually gave to me. He fixes these computers up all the time, and he had a stockpile of them, and he's like, hey, bud, I know you do a lot of stuff on a computer. Heard you have an older computer. Here's a little bit nicer one. It's not the greatest, but it's something, and I can't thank him enough. So he has definitely helped me out a lot. That's really awesome of him to give me a free computer, basically. That's a semi-nice computer. It's about $1,000 computer, I want to say. So can't really say nobody's helped me out in any way, shape, or form because they definitely have. All right, let's get some Nintendo 64 on here so we can test that out, and then we'll sign in and do some tinkering with the overclocking. I need to go and actually search for overclock settings because I don't think I have my setup anymore, because I used to have an image on a LCD screen, like a 10-inch tablet and or a 7-inch tablet, and I used to have that as like my mini RetroPie system, but I got rid of it a long time ago, because I never really used it. It was just more for testing purposes. That's right. I gotta get to him. So yeah. Anyway, let's go to Nintendo 64, and we'll do. You know what? We're gonna do Killer Instinct. I'm gonna see if I can try and get that running. That would be awesome if I can get KI Gold. KI Gold is pretty hard to get running on Nintendo 64. Mario, we'll do Mario Kart because that's something that a lot of people ask for. And obviously, we'll do Ocarina of Time, because that's a big one. And we'll just load those games on for the time being. And then we'll look for overclock settings here. Quick second. Let's see. Wow, that's an old video. All right, well, let's steal some bandwidth here and check out a video. Actually, I think I got this muted, so that'd be kind of pointless. Unless I find my other, no idea where it is, my other remote control. No idea what I did with it. Oh, there it is. Well, thanks for the thumbs up. Yeah, thanks. Continue to. Okay, so we're gonna go. No, it's just the fact that I tend to move around my cameras a lot because, as I was just stating before you got in here, I am waiting till Black Friday to build a new PC, and once I build that new PC, I will have a couple cameras set up in different areas, have them all connected. We'll have OBS on, and we're basically going to do um, a a setup of cameras of my workstation, because I mostly work right here when I do like soldering and things like that, and just well, really more of my work out of anything is done on this desk. Um, Now behind me here is my resin printer area. So, and I have a camera setup in mind for that, but it's kind of expensive. It's about $100 just for the setup to get the camera to where I want it set up in that specific way. So I'm not sure if I really want to spend that money, because while it's a cool factor, it's something that is minor at best. So, TL505 will watch for the update on the kit special. Time is not an issue. Supporting small businesses. Matt, is the link for the CM3 on the Retro New Age or on the Akuma mods? There should be a link on my Akuma mod shop. I know Facebook has been having some issues with the shop and other things related to pages. So if you can't find it there, Etsy is another place. Look for Akuma mods on Etsy, and you can order it through there. I'm just giving you a heads up. There is a pretty big price tag. It costs just as much as one of these units, which is about 75 bucks. Amazon sells these for 70, I believe, last time I checked. And these CM3 kits cost 75 bucks, because, to be in all honesty, the pie itself is about $36 just for that alone, and then the board is another 30 some odd dollars, and it's shipping from Taiwan, so I got to pay extra for import fees and things like that. So it's going to be pretty pricey, and at the $75 range, am I making money? Maybe $1, maybe $2, and that's really only on the U.S. side. Anything that's shipping outside of the country, I'm definitely going to be taking all the funds that I get from the U.S. shipping and using it for that, much as I did the GPI case when I bought those. Um, I'll be using that to fund parts of the international shipping, because I do have quite a lot of orders for international. So if you know anything about shipping, international, the lowest price possible is $22.95 shipped outside of the U.S. So that's the cheapest shipping that I can do, yeah, it's kind of a pain to do that. How do you find the smell working that close to resin printers? Loads of people really complain about it, but it's never bothered me. I'll be honest. So the issue, the bigger issue that a lot of people don't see, is really resin fumes are bad for you, period. Whether you smell them or not, having them around you constantly is not good. And I have 2, 4, 5 printers on this space alone. I have a 6th printing right behind this camera. I have a 7th on the floor. I have an 8th in pieces, which is the Elegoo, and I have a 9th on the way in the next week or so. And I have one resin that is very, very potent, and that is the iFun High Tough resin. Now, I'm not saying don't get this resin, because it does have amazing properties. It is a very strong material. But that's the only one that I've noticed has a distinct smell. And like, this is my basement. So I have 2 floors above here. I have my main floor and I have the upstairs. When I come in and I'm using that iFun stuff, man, I can smell it throughout the entire house. So in order to combat that, I have not used it again. To combat that, I bought this. This thing is about as big as the printer that's behind this camera, which is called a Spark Maker. This is an air filtration system. Now, this is a pretty pricey one. I think this was $62 or $63, somewhere around there. It does have specific settings. It does have a timer for 2 hour, 4 hour, and 8 hour. Has a UV light, and well, I'm sorry, not a UV light. It's got a light on it, like a what do they call those? Night light, which I'll probably never ever use. But it's got a big beefy fan in it. It's basically a giant turbine style fan, and it runs on micro USB, so it is kind of nice. And I'll be doing a little review on this too, and link into what this is. But it's absolutely worth every penny. And there are more compact ones that you can get for cheaper. I had the chance to review this item, and I haven't had a chance to yet. I've been too busy dealing with the resin printer unboxings. I wanted to get that ready and rocking and rolling so people know what printers I have in my possession, at least. And then we're going to start shooting more video of actual reviews of the printer after working with them for a week or 2 weeks or what have you. So that's really the process that takes the longest is, printing on them, seeing how the prints turn out, and going from there. So this is definitely something I'll be reviewing soon because it needs to be up and running at all times. And I'm basically going to put this somewhere on my desk, this printer farm rack area. I'll be putting it somewhere on there so it can draw in the air because it draws it in through here. And so that way it can filter it out properly and I'm not killing myself of volatile resin gases. And then also on top of it, since it is a HEPA filter and a carbon filter in one, it will trap all of the gases and fumes and everything that the resin printers give off. So I should not have an issue with the smell anymore. And if I do still, I have a big stand one, like one that's probably four feet tall, and that is a beefy monster. And that gets really, really loud. But if that's the case where I need to bring that down here, then so be it. Then I'll bring this one upstairs and I'll just kind of use it as a room air purifier, even though it doesn't really cover a good amount of room. That's why I'm using it in a smaller space. So, but yeah, these can range anywhere from $20, $30 all the way up to a couple $100, depending on what you want to spend and how good of a product. Obviously, this is some just Chinese knockoff, but this one's way better than the other one that I had to do a review on. But I'll probably end up doing a side-by-side comparison of both of them and basically giving my 2 cents about everything. So, yep, heard about that pain in international shipping from Mark Williamson over at the Ender XL Kit site. Yeah. That thing looks like R2D2. Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah, kind of does a little bit. It reminds me of a little mini trash can. But yeah, it's definitely a very, very beefy thing. So anyway, back to what I need to do. Good thing I already have a large HEPA filter system down here. Laugh out loud or a Mac Pro. I'll be honest, I'm not a Mac person. I was this close to saying, all right, I think it's time to get a Mac. My twin brother is a Mac person, 100%. And I am an Android person. Always have been, always will be. And really, I've been a Symbian guy for a while, but Symbian hasn't been around for a long time. I was always a Nokia guy, not just like your normal Nokias. I always used to have the really crazy models that costed hundreds of dollars and nobody ever had because they weren't the brick style phone that you could throw at a wall and it wouldn't shatter into a million pieces. Print some legs for it in a dome. Yeah, I probably could. I definitely could. I can print like a ring to go around it, and yeah, I can do all kinds of things for it. That would be kind of funny, actually. So yeah, I was very tempted to get a MacBook Pro because it's so simple to use for video editing. I hate the software itself because it's dumb the way that it works. Everything is basically backwards to Windows, which I've used forever. Um, and personally, if I had to go to another operating system, which I have, this computer right here, which you can just see the screen of it, I've gone to Linux Mint specifically because it's a very simple, basic system, and I can use whatever I need to from it. And I work with Raspberry Pi stuff a lot, so it helps with that because obviously Raspberry Pi runs background Linux. So yeah, very 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 tempting on that because they're cheap, they're ready to go, and if I get a MacBook Pro, it's a laptop and I can just do things on the go. But I already have a laptop here. I don't need to add more to a laptop because I have one up here. So it's just, I'd rather have a fully built PC because not only that, I want a PC that I can possibly do games on, and do some gaming with my buddies because they're all PC Master Race guys and I'm a console guy. So I've never really been into a PC. The last PC game that I ever invested in was Diablo and StarCraft, the original ones. Okay, so those were the last two PC games I actually bought for myself to play on a PC. So that tells you how long ago. And yeah, it's tempting, but I don't think I'm going to go that route just because it's not compatible with everything that I use. Oh, and thanks for the subscribe, James. Kudos. Okay, let's go and watch this video again because I forgot how to log in here and do everything. Wow, this is an old ETA Prime video. All right, Dave, thanks for stopping by. If you got any questions, feel free to hit me up. I'm always around, man. Oh, you broke it. There. Oh, I didn't break anything. I was referring to the Discord with Peter's traces. Oh my God, just get to it. I have created a text file and downloaded from the description. I have created a text file and downloaded from the description. This is going to be use that your own after you see this written out. So you can do that by opening up a terminal and pasting this right in. This will display the max frequency of the sleeping rate. Next up, nice. Install system. So go, continue, install system. Then accept the CPU. You're going to do a prime benchmark. Then there's a payment. Behind this here is 1.575 gigahertz. Also have 5 gigahertz. So you might notice this big voltage here. And going with the 1.575, it's not more. Show F is not G. And snap it over here to the right hand side. So there's a lot of stuff in right. It's going to show it as boot, minus F is not G. Inside of here, we have config.txt file. Right click. So there's a lot of stuff in here. And I can continue behind the case. Line 42. This is where the pasting. We comment this by removing this hashtag. Here we have 800. If you want that, you want to hire it. So there's a lot of stuff. Okay, so now I gotta take it out. Now I gotta do some stuff. There. Let's go ahead and get this here. Put that in her. Got 4 people watching. This is probably the 4 people I know. What we're gonna do? Config. Line 42. This is where we're going to be testing our overclock profile. If you uncomment this by removing this hashtag, you're going to be at 800 megahertz. Do not want that. You want a higher clock. So I'm going to go to 1.57 gigahertz. I'm just going to copy all of this, copy, and then paste it right here. File, save. If for some reason you can't overclock whatsoever, Okay, so let's go and open up a web browser. Besides this, we'll go to .com. All right, there we go. Let that load. Thanks. Continue.
You'll be able to stop 1.4 gigahertz CPU speed. And you'll be able to boot right back up. So right here, make sure you definitely save, file, save, or done stuff. Close out this. We'll move over to the Raspberry Pi. First thing I'm going to do is actually run a benchmark with the stock CPU speeds. No overclock at all. Then we're going to run a benchmark at the new overclock of 1.57 gigahertz. Alright, so here we are, Raspberry Pi.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and copy this and
we want to find the max frequency that we're in right now.
there it goes.
This is going to spin up the max frequency of the CPU. 1.4 gigahertz. Next thing we want to do is install System. I already have mine installed, so I'm just going to run it now. Copy it in here. Run. Copy. Paste.
Okay.
Enter.
So now we're good on that end.
Lower is better with this benchmark. Total time 79.775. Expand this. 1.4 gigahertz, 79.775. I'm going to go ahead and do an overclock real quick at 1.57 gigahertz right here.
We're going to do
came back with 1.57 overclock. I'm going to show you the frequency. 1.57. I'm going to run that benchmark. With the overclock, total time was 70.8373.
So we're going to go
9 seconds faster than the stop clock. So overall, 9 seconds doesn't sound like a lot for a modern PC. For a small cylinder computer like the Raspberry Pi, 9 seconds is a really good gain.
paste.
If you also went ahead and overclock the GPU, you will notice kind of
Install
patch. You'll also notice kind of video playback. But overall, this is as high as I can get from my Raspberry Pi 3 Plus. And I think it's a pretty decent overclock. I really appreciate you guys watching.
We need WPA supplicants.
So try to be honest about your overclocks. I've seen people say they want to clock your Raspberry Pi 2 gigahertz and stable all day. I truly don't believe them. I do not think it's possible. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you can overclock your Raspberry Pi 3 Plus on up there.
Okay.
I'd love to see some of the 16 gigahertz.
Let's go ahead and try this on the GPI case. Let's see how it goes.
If you guys could hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more great content. And as always, Thanks for watching.
There you have, buddy. Thank you for the help yet again. Yeah, so just to show off, there is a micro USB connection here, SD card reader, and a micro USB connection there. All right, moment of truth. Let's see if this works. Or let's see if we blow it up. There we go. Much better. Had it inserted a little wrong. Dang. Oh, we didn't do that. I did it again. I forgot to set up the case, the buttons on the case. We're going to do this. We can do this. That out. Do. Very fast. Hmm. Okay. Fun times. Fun times in the city. Keep on, keep Oh, what's up, Esoteric? I'm working on a GPI case. This is the CM3 kit for this. And I'm basically setting it up. It's overclocked. It's ready to rock and roll. Unfortunately, I forgot to put in the button configuration for the GPI case before doing everything. And yeah, this is like the 6th time I've done this image. And I keep messing up one little thing. And I finally got it all up and running, but the keyboard is not functioning. And I know there's a button to like get it to work with the dongle that comes with it. But yeah, I don't know what it is.
Assalamualaikum viewers. Here I can show you the recommend light white
It's fun times. Nope, that's not the right one. Oh, and then on top of it, we're 3D printing some stuff right here. So. At the end 7. All right, let's take a gander at this. Fun times, fun times. Oops, that's not the one. I wanted this. What you up to, man? Okay, so this is called the I-10. That's it. This is an epic fail. 3 mini and 7. Motion plus RF. Very strange. This is so much fun, let me tell you. Wow, I got some crazy keyboards out here now. Is there an RF button in here? No, no, there is an RF. It's F1. So much fun. All right, let's try. Oh yeah. Up, down, left, right. Start, select. Why? Yay. All right, let's see if this works. You need to copy the Dreamcast files. Okay. Okay. So I apparently have to still do that. I'm just going to restart the system. I'm sorry. All right. This is giving me such an issue. Let's go ahead and put this one instead. All right. Let's see what we can do. Do we have a Wi-Fi? Oh. Okay. Let's try and get my feet up here. So close. There we go. That's much better. Okay, so now that we got that, let's go ahead and go to SCP. Win SCP 34. Let's go to exit. Back up. Start the relation station. And let's try this again. Probably the buttons aren't configured for this very well. Let's see. Okay. You know what? I think I did this wrong. I think I got to start Rycast and then start the game. Fascination. This is why I hate doing BIOS stuff, because it's just a pain in the butt. This is why I never really had Dreamcast on here, because it's It's too much. Too much work. Yeah, Wi-Fi's on here. I'll have the dongle connected. It's just the fact that it has an issue with the BIOS. Try and check Ryan Radio. Nothing. All right, let's take a quick gander online. Her online to the rescue. This is an hour long.
Guys, so today we're doing the streamy stream high bench on the new Raspberry Pi B. Although what happens is not common. I'm Christian from MakingShop.com and I'm going to show you how to get Dreamcast emulation and micro SD card and reliable power supply. You'll also need a keyboard with suitable game controller because here there is micro SD card. With the card safely ejected from your vision screen and select retro setup. Here, go to P, manage packages, and store from source. It's important that you choose this option rather than the alternative, install from binary. Once installed, click back repeatedly, then exit to return to the main Virtual Pi menu. Minecraft is now installed, but you'll need some games to play. You'll also need to buy ROM files. Now for this, Google the files you need. Copyright law prevents us from sharing these links with you.
All right, so we'll let that run a little bit. What's broke? It's not going into the games. So I have the bin files. They're in there correctly. I installed from binary. Now I'm installing from source, or updating from source, I should say. I have 2 games loaded on there. They're recognizing the games, but it's not recognizing going into the games. So we're going to see if this update works with that. And then we're going to proceed on with the video.
Similarly, we can link each resources of Dreamcast games on CDI and GDI format. These should be able to find them. Just make sure you're using games you originally owned, as well as YouTube and you're breaching copyright. Several options are available for copying these files to a RetroPie box. The best is to open a browser on your computer and enter //retropie. Here, open the BIOS directory and copy the DC_boot.bin and DC_flash.bin BIOS files across. Follow this by copying the game files to the /Dreamcast directory. With this done, press the assigned menu button on the controller or via the keyboard and select Quit and restart system. Click Yes to confirm and wait while Raspberry Pi reboots. The next stage is to configure Rycast, which you can do by browsing to the Dreamcast menu and selecting Start Rycast. There is confusion about what you should do here. You're safe to ignore the date and time. Move straight to Select, then to File.
Yes. It's not an A+ image. No, it's specific to the CM3. It's a B+ image. So the image itself works perfectly fine. I'm trying to get Dreamcast running. That's the hard part. I know if I click on Nintendo 64, it'll work. I know because I've done it. I have an image already set up. It's got Nintendo 64 working. I didn't have it overclocked at the time, but it's running. This is overclocked. Now this is just a show-off image. Anybody who's anybody can install RetroPie on here with a 3B image. Well, 3B plus, I should say. Yeah. It's literally going to be a video of me just stress testing it. So I put on some very hardcore Nintendo 64 games, not including GoldenEye, because I know GoldenEye, even with it extremely overclocked, will not run very well. So I put some Nintendo 64 and Dreamcast games on there to show off that it can handle that with some overclocking, obviously, but it can handle it. Now I'm just waiting for, the gazillion things of updating Dreamcast via source.
Believe in mirrors.
that's pretty good. You actually kind of sound like him.
Ah, there you are. Now, in the mirrors.
What the hell you mean do I believe in mirrors?
Well, you see, I don't believe in mirrors.
Do 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 do. I hate updating RetroPie in any way because it takes forever, and I can't sit here all night long. Oh no, I got things to do. Sorry, I couldn't keep that rolling. This is good enough. Yep, BIOS files are in there. I only know that for certain that those are working because when I first put them in there, I put them outside of the directory because I was watching a video, and so older video, but that's what it told me to do. And then when I started up Rycast on here, it said, hey, you're missing your BIOS file. So I was like, okay, there's a folder called DC in BIOS. Let's move those files into DC. And then now it works. At least it's better than Chris's singing. Yes, sir. Both in there. Both working. ROMs are in GDI format, and I know they work because I used to have them working on my old image. It's probably been a good year and a half since I booted up and did Dreamcast games. So if I were to able to get my old image to work on here, that would be great. Everything's already done for me. I don't have to do that. It's literally just to show off. That's it. But since it can't, I got to build it all from scratch, and well, that just kind of sucks. But I'll have a stock image ready to go for people that are needing it. So I never heard Chris saying he's usually got stuff in his mouth. Speaking of Chris, if you're still around here, I'm reading a post about somebody having some issues with screen protectors. Sounds familiar. Sounds very familiar. And I actually know this person pretty well. Well, maybe I'm wrong. No, I think they're just boasting about glass screen protectors. Never mind. Not what I thought it was. Okay. So we're going to back up here. Back. And we're going to do a reboot.
The next stage is to configure Rycast, which you can do by browsing to the Dreamcast menu and selecting the Start Rycast. There is confusion. These features were flashed up in Bibles files across
Oh, my batteries are dying.
by copying the game files /Dreamcast directory. With this done, press the Assigned Menu button on the controller or by the keyboard and select Quit, then restart system. Click Yes to confirm and wait while Raspberry Pi reboots. Follow this by copying the game files /Dreamcast directory. With this done, press the Assigned Menu button on the controller or by the keyboard and select Quit, then restart system. Click Yes to confirm and wait while Raspberry Pi reboots. The next stage is to configure Rycast, which you can do by browsing to the Dreamcast menu and selecting the Start Rycast. There is confusion online about what you should do here, but you're safe to ignore the date and time and move straight to Select, then to File, and wipe with the emulators. These virtual memory files need to be wiped in order for you to save again.
So let's go to I don't know. Doing something wrong. I'm gonna try one other thing, and that's it. That don't work. We're moving on. So basically what I did is I installed from binary first, and I think I have to install from source first. So once we do that, then we can get it up and running. Getting sources for Rycast. Does the Dreamcast menu say start Rycast? Yes, it does. But when I go to that menu, it basically puts me into some options menu that looks very strange. Something I've never seen before, so it's definitely a little different. Yeah, like I said, man, I've done this before in the past. It's been a year and a half at least since I've touched Dreamcast emulation because it was such a pain getting it started. I was like, all right, set it up. I'm good. We're ready to rock and roll. So. Oh, I'd be mad if that happened. Yeah, I'm printing the same damn thing. Just printing. All right, well, we're going to let that finish. I'll be right back. Yeah, I totally I printed the wrong file. Oh well, it's fine. I can still utilize the file. Not the end of the world. It's kind of fine because I'll be honest, I wanted to get rid of this this resin. This is what we're printing with. G-Tech. Water washable UV sensitive resin. This is taking quite a while now. Well, the first one I washed in IPA accidentally, and it basically it showed through. Like, if you know anything about having an IPA 99% on you, you know it dries out your skin. Well, it kind of did the same thing. You can't really see it, but you see that white mark and then the white inside the mouth here. Yeah, well, it's that's because of the IPA. The second one I didn't water, so let me grab that one. I have yet to cure it, and it does feel a little sticky on this end, but that one came out much better. So basically, I put it in. I have another container here that has water in it. Put one of my little stirrers in it, and that's how it went. It's a little gooey feeling, but I think that's because it's not cured. So we'll cure it in a little bit here. Basically, for right now, I'm printing a bunch of these little slime rancher guys for my son's birthday, which is coming up in March. And my wife and him both requested that because that's his theme is slime rancher, and he asked me, he's like, "Hey, Dad, can you print out a bunch of the slimes?" And I said, "Yeah, there's a guy that made a bunch of them, and I'll go ahead and do that." Let's go ahead and start Riotcast. Yep, I don't know what I'm doing wrong with this, but it's not popping up. I'll have to fiddle around with it on a regular Pi. It's just it's too much of a pain. Alright, well, let's at least play some Nintendo 64. Let's see how that goes. Let's do some Killer Instinct, shall we? Good old KI. Well, the overclock works. We're at 1.57 gigahertz. Yeah, 1.57. Let's do Saberwolf. It's working. It's a little glitchy. Oh, guys, you're telling me. I win, you lose. Ah. I win. She loses. It is choppy. Well, okay, so this game is really, really hard to emulate for Nintendo 64. So the fact that it runs is good. Because I've never even got it to play that good. Even with my Pi overclocked, I've never got it to play that good. Let's try another game of The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. This one, it plays just as good as like Mario does, but it has some graphical glitching on it, real hardcore. Now, if there's not as bad, like what I mean, like graphical hardcore, like falling through the map type thing. This is playing pretty good so far. Ah, that's right. I don't think I could skip these screens. Can't even speed them up. And now for my ringtone. For last time I played this, this was very glitchy, this intro. Buttons are a little off, but we can change that at any point in time. And retro arch. Da-dee-dee-dee-da. He didn't say it all. Yeah, so before, like, you would be able to see all the clippings of the map and everything on the bottom. You could see right through all the graphics. This is much, much better. Okay, Nebby, stop bothering me. I didn't set up the control, so I don't even know if this is going to work very well, but it is currently almost 3 a.m. in the morning. No, I don't sleep much. There's some days where I catch up on my sleep, but for the most part, I'm here. Oh, okay. Really? Well, either way, that works pretty good. Oh, you know what? I wanted to load Turok on here. I wanted to see how that game was. I haven't played Turok in a long time, since Nintendo 64. Welcome to Mario Kart. Let's go. Sure. Yahoo! They had Shy Guy. I'd play him. Sure, we'll just pick some maps. Sure. I know this is a highly wanted game, and people were concerned about how it would play. So. Oh, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna win. Ah, shit. Gotcha. I won! Yay! Number one. All right. So that's pretty good. Not bad. I dig it. With that, I'm going to let you guys go because I got to make a quick video of this. And I'll maybe be on tomorrow. So until then, happy gaming and happy printing, whichever one you're on. See you later, guys, and have a good night.